Hello, hello. Feels like I've been gone for weeks. I was only gone for like a half a day. No, I was off yesterday. I usually do my research one day and come out and share it with you on the next. And I want to say welcome into 1111. My name's Danny. You can call me whatever you want. Some people like to call me Mama D. And in that, you guys, we are in the Lindsay Clancy case deep dive again. This case has me, and as some people say, has me hooked. And I was listening to like court and, the trial. And, Vinnie Politan was too. And Uncle Vinny, who I adore, I think he's wonderful. His approach is, how is it even possible for people to even think that Patrick Clancy could do this if he's on CVS, a pharmacy security cam, at the exact time that the phone at the house is traveling from the basement up to the first floor, and then from the first floor up to the second floor. So keep this in mind. Vinny is saying, and I've listened, that's what the courts are telling us too, that the time stamp on the CBS footage shows what everybody that's in the court believes to be Patrick in the CVS store at exactly the same time that Lindsay's phone. Hold on just 1 minute. I am so sorry. You guys, I just got offered a wonderful steak. Anyway, I said I'm working. No, I can't have it right now. But I certainly appreciate the person willing to make it. Okay, anyway, so I get his point. If while Patrick is physically at a different location, how can he be in two places at once doing all this stuff at the CBC store? I mean, at the house. If he's at the CVS store, how in the world, if he's at the pharmacy on camera, is he then at the house too? And I'm like, well, there is a way you could be in two places at once. So we're going to listen to Vinny. We're going to listen to a little bit of that. But then I'm going to show you why a lot of people think that it was not even Patrick at the CVS store. Now, I want to tell you something real quick. Now, I don't usually go into personal experiences on here very often, but this one is so relevant. One time, I met a girl in my hometown that had just moved here. I was in my early 30s, and she looked a little bit like me to me. I was like, yeah, she and I do favor. We met, she mentioned, hey, you look like me. I'm like, hey, you look like me. And we made friends, acquaintances, and then we went on our separate ways. And then a few weeks later, during the next 2 or 3 weeks, people that knew me very well, like even family, were like, I saw you in a white van over at the Dollar General. And I'm like, I haven't been in a white van. They're like, it was you. I would know you. I'm like, it wasn't me. And they're like, no, it was you. And I'm like, I promise you, I wasn't in a white van at the Dollar General. Then they'd be like, well, I saw you at the grocery store the other day as I was passing by in a white van, and you never waved. And I'm like, you're not even the same person. You're a completely different person. And you're saying you saw me there, and I don't drive a white van. This went on for 2 weeks. Never dawned on me that this friend I had met drove a white van. All right. So lo and behold, my husband's brother, my brother-in-law, coincidentally starts to date the girl. Okay. And in the beginning, the first week that he met her and started getting to know her and they were hanging out, they were going places together. And I still had not seen the girl before again, just saw her the one time where we hit it off as an acquaintance. And so then after, and his name is Pete, we call him Petey. After Petey had started seeing her, all of a sudden, even my mother-in-law at the dinner table with my husband and everybody, was like, hey, what were you and Danny doing at this place? And Pete and I look at each other and we're like, what? And she's like, you were with Pete the other day. I saw you. I'm like, I wasn't with Pete. Even my husband was like, you were with my brother? And I'm like, no. And Pete's like, what color vehicle? And she was like, a white van. He's like, that's Amy. All right. So as you guessed, everybody was seeing my doppelganger, which coincidentally, she and I became close friends, and over years, we got very close. She became my best friend. And then you got it. She left the brother. She cheated with my husband, and she ended up together with him for years. Like I was done. So it was a very twisted mental thing, because while she was my best friend, she was playing head games with me while having an affair with my husband. So does that make me biased to the situation, or does it make me more alert as to what could happen? I'll let you determine that. Maybe I'm biased. But what it does do is it does wake me up to the idea that many people look alike. And a lot of people can think that they know someone really, really good. And from a distance, they think they're seeing that person, right? So let's say hello to a few people, and then we're going to look at Patrick Clancy's best friend, Kyle, and some very close look at this CBS footage, because there is some keen differences between the restaurant footage and the CBS footage, as well as how much more time would Patrick have had if he didn't go to CBS at all? What if he only went to the restaurant? All right. Let's say hello to a few people. Hey, Lola, welcome back. Dark Angel, Kathy, Smudger, Jennyville, Florida Girl. Florida Girl, I was born in Florida. You said I'm not buying into the PC conspiracy until I saw the photo that compared them. Now I'm questioning this. I feel you. I'm curious. Joyce says the orchestra didn't even invest Patrick. The prosecutor didn't even investigate Patrick. Y'all, it's hard to read your writing sometimes. The defense isn't going to do anything about it. They believe Lindsay did it. I've got a little frog in my throat. I'm going to give him a little water. I feel you. I'm like, why am I even researching this? There's no chance that this is even going to come to justice if it's true, because Lindsay's already signed the thing saying she did it. And what's even creepier, which gives me the worst goosebumps, is that Patrick's new wife, the ex-husband that was married to Lindsay when all this happened with the kids, his new wife, I say new because they just got married. However, they were liking each other's posts and knew each other well before the children were taken out. She is like a doppelganger to Lindsay. And so when you hear the creepy things being said by Lindsay, such as, I saw myself do it, all of us have that very creepy feeling of, was there some accomplices in the house? It's so strange how much Lindsay and this Rachel, the new wife, look alike. Now, as far as, well, we'll get into that. All right, you guys. So here we go. Is it really him in the store? So if you look at this little thumbnail I've got, we're going to get it bigger and all that. You can see this two men. You can see this guy over here, Let me get my drawing stick. That's the easiest way. You can see this guy over here. This is Kyle. That is actually Patrick's best friend. This is Patrick. They could be brothers, y'all. Look how close they look. Patrick does look a lot older to me than his best friend, like 10 years older, but that's just the way I felt. Okay, let's listen to what our cousin here, Vinny, says. Again, I want to make it very clear I have the utmost respect for Vinny P. I truly do. But doesn't mean we always agree with our favorite content creators, right? And I just don't agree with what he's saying. But I thought it was a great way for both sides to be heard in fairness. His side and my side, because I have questions, all right? All right, let's listen to Mr. Vinny P. He's got some very good points, right?
Lindsay Clancy has admitted to it through
Why is it so low? Hold on. Why is the volume like not there? Okay, it's fully up on my end. I recorded this so that it was super loud, and y'all, it's coming out like really. I guess you'll have to put your headphones on, y'all. Sorry. That's the loudest I can boost it right here.
She is the one responsible, but a lot of people are pointing the finger at her now ex-husband, Patrick Clancy. I am going to show you through the evidence that it's 100% clear that Patrick did not do it. I'm Vinny Politan, and this is Vinny After Dark. Right? We know certain facts in this case, and it starts with Patrick Clancy walking into CVS. Whether you think he's wearing boots or sneakers or Docksiders, it doesn't matter what's on his feet. It's him. He is there walking into CVS at around 5:32, 5:33. And he's there for 5-8 minutes, whatever it is. And we see him on the video. That video is time-stamped. The Massachusetts State Police investigated that video. They investigated the machine that time-stamped the video. He's there at that time. The phone call is not answered. He's calling Lindsay. Lindsay calls him back. People have said, well, he could have called from the Apple Watch. Okay, let's put a pin in that for just a second. About him pretending to call Lindsay, who he knows he's already taken care of back home. She's not answering the phone because she can't. She's incapacitated after what Patrick did to her, right? But let's put a pin in the Apple Watch for a second. I'll deal with that in a minute. I want to deal with the cell phone data. The cell phone data, which at the exact time that Patrick is on video at CVS, Lindsay's cell phone is going up 2 flights, is missing a call, and is making a call.
Okay. So you heard. They've already shown in court through the IT guy, the guy that does all the data with all the electronics, whatever kind of job he has, the forensics examiner of the electronics and the data, that it appeared Patrick was on camera at the CVS pharmacy. And I say appeared because people need to remember something. We are not our phone. If our phone is doing something, it doesn't mean we are. And a prime example is in the Nolan Wells case when he was reported missing. His phone was actually taken back on a boat to a friend's house. And he wasn't reported missing for hours. And then after he was reported missing, it was a little bit of a tug of war to get the phone back and his keys back. And that's why everybody's like, what's going on here? So I got to thinking, the timeline would be interesting to see what if Patrick never went to the CVS pharmacy? What if his friend did? But Doreen is asking a perfect question. Why would his friend or anyone go along and support his murdering 3 kids? I can't imagine. And I don't think so either. But if you go into this in a different angle, what if the friend, okay, had a problem and didn't like Lindsay? What if the best friend over the years had begun to resent Lindsay and thought that the game plan was just to take Lindsay out and be done with her? What if the person really thought that and they were wicked enough that they were like, yeah, buddy, I'll help you hide the body or throw it out the window, whatever. And he's like, okay, I'll go to the CBC and I'll make it seem like I'm getting the kids medicine. That'll give you an alibi on the camera. And when you're done taking her out, you can call me on her phone to secure the alibi. I'll know then it's done. Then when it's all said and done, the friend finds out that it wasn't just Lindsay, that it was the kids too. How's he going to come forward and go, well, I was part of a horrific scheme to take out one person and, well, he took out the whole family. I don't see that happening. So it could put that person into a predicament that they're blackmailed to keep their mouth shut. Also, knowing how dangerous this person is, man, and how tricky they are. You could never come forward and be like, I was part of a plot to take out this crazy woman so that Patrick could live a new life, right? All right. What's that? Vanilla, hello, lovely. You said, in my opinion, thank you, lovely. Patrick is skinny because of running. It wasn't him there. I think the guy on the screen looks pretty thin, too. The Jay Slater case is a good way of showing phones don't equal a person, in your opinion. I agree with that, too. One part's his hair on the right, the other left, I seen in picture. Yeah. Well, that's a comb. Yeah, my kids, one of my sons parts his hair always one way, but he can part his hair the other way. And it'll look a little different, but it still can part. So parts aren't exactly going to help us out here because that's just something you can do with a comb, right? I'm just saying. Dark Angel, right, like Chris Watts. Wow. A lot of people don't understand mental illness nor the meds taken for them. That can be true too. Let me get in on top chat. Okay. Was it really Patrick though? Or could this best friend have just simply thought that he was part of the taking out of Lindsay and maybe he had resentment? And then later found out, oh my golly, it was the kids too. But then he does point out that the phone at home, while Patrick is allegedly at the CVS, the pharmacy, what if that was actually the friend, the best friend? We've got different hairstyles. We've got different nose. One of them has bushy eyebrows, and then in the next video, he doesn't. Different shoes, different jacket. And I even think those are different pants. It looks like 2 different people. And what's worse to me is if you review this, which we're going to, I don't think that CBS footage looks anything like Patrick. I think it looks a lot more like the friend, Kyle. I'm not saying Kyle had anything to do with any of it. I'm not saying Patrick did. I'm bringing up how I feel, that I think that the looks are different, but I'm also asking questions. Is it possible that this was a setup to get rid of the wife and then the husband took advantage of that. Not only got rid of the wife, but also cleaned his plate of all responsibility, which would also allow him to have a GoFundMe that raised $1 million plus, 3 life insurance policies cashed in on the children, and now a civil trial suing the medical people. That's a lot of money too. So if the friend was like, man, I'd do it for $1 million, I'd pretend to be you and go into the CBC. And what if they were like, we'll get it to you? Because that is possible. Not that it happened, but it's possible. Dark Angel says, in my opinion, the judge doesn't believe it was Lindsay. I've seen the judge double take a couple times on Patrick. These searches, the double take from the judge was phenomenal. Well, that's an amazing point. How bizarre that Kyle and Patrick are doppelgangers and Lindsay and Patrick's new wife are doppelgangers, right? All right, let's look at this a little bit better. So here you have down here with this right here. This is allegedly Patrick. And this is allegedly Patrick. Now, I'll give you that this does look like Patrick. You can see right here, even the bump of the nose looks like Patrick's bump on his nose. See his nose right there? I can see that. I can also see where his sideburns, now his sideburns are wider and he shaves them blunt, meaning that they come down squared off like this. But what's really weird to me is this dude has really pointy sideburns, really pointy, like they come down to like a V shape, right? And then we have this and it looks like a V shape. And I'm like, is this the dude? This is so bizarre to me. Like this to me, curly hair all the way. Get over here, darker hair, right? Richer brown, more shaded, thicker hair, and it lays flat. Vanilla doesn't think this looks like Patrick either. Sarah says, perhaps Kyle didn't know anything about the plot to take out Lindsay. Patrick could have simply have asked Kyle to go to the CVS for medicine as he didn't want to leave his wife home. It could have been tricking his best friend, having something happen, and then going to your best friend and going, oh my God, you've got to say I was with you. I didn't even know this was going on. I was in the bathroom the whole time. I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Was a prescription picked up? If so, no. No prescription that I know of. Just over-the-counter stool softener. Yeah, no prescription, Linda. That's brilliant, though. I wish there had been. Jenny Phil says, I got into a convo with my daughter explaining why I was yelling at the phone. Rose Lily, hello, welcome to the channel. Yes, when they talked about the fingerprints being Patrick's on the bands, there is so much that make me question this. So I want to explain. When your body drops to 82 degrees, you no longer can speak. I don't care if you've got vocal cords that are perfectly functioning. If your throat is fine, it don't matter. You no longer have the ability to control your speech. It will sound garbled. It will sound moans. You can hear screams, whatever. The person is not thinking. Their body is in complete survival mode. There is no one on this God's green earth that will ever convince me that Lindsay actually told Patrick that she tried to, herself. And I definitely don't believe she said the kids are in the basement. And so if she couldn't talk, that would be a big deal too. But we also heard from the mother on the trial today, or I think it was today or yesterday, of Lindsay, say that Lindsay got really scared to drive her own car. Coinkadink, it happened to start just after a week or so, that while she was at the doctor's office with one of the children, somebody at home on the home computer used Patrick's email to log into her Facebook account from home while she wasn't in the house, and was Googling how to make the airbags go off in a Kia Sonova. And it just so happens that Lindsay's car was a Kia Sonova. And you have to wonder, all of a sudden now Lindsay doesn't want to drive her car. Was she starting to get suspicious that something was going on? Had she stumbled upon something that suggested she had visited that link and she knew she didn't? And she was getting kind of weird because now she's afraid to drive her car. And so the mother began driving Lindsay around. So if Patrick comes home that day from the CVS pharmacy, and the first thing he did is take his boots off, and second was yell for people, everybody, and nobody answered, and so forth and so on. He mentions when he first pulled up to the house that he parked next to Lindsay's black Kia Sonova. But then, in the testimony that he gave about when he first got home, he says one of the things he did is to look out the window to see if Lindsay's car was there. If the woman ain't driving no more because she's scared to drive, one, and you just parked by her car, two, all of a sudden we don't have a reason to be looking to see if Lindsay's car is here. I mean, she could physically drive, but you just parked by her car. That's weird. That's weird too. And there's no fingerprints on the knife that was used to, Lindsay, cut Lindsay. No fingerprints on it. And it's left-handed cuts on her body. Left-handed cuts when she's right-handed. Why on earth, and I've never believed it's one of the biggest red flags on earth, is if somebody is accused of taking themselves out, okay, and they don't use their dominant hand, I'd open the investigation right there. But what's worse is, with all appearances and all the research I've done and all the photographs all the way back to the one where he's holding the baby, Patrick's left-handed. Number two, why would he be Googling anything about, why would Lindsay be Googling anything about the carotid artery? Because she's a nurse and she knows the anatomy. And she's not in the house when he's Googling this. And it's his email account. Y'all, this is sitting all sideways with me no matter how I look at it. Dark Angel says, in my opinion, the DNA evidence says enough to prove it wasn't Lindsay was with her, hers not being on a lot of the things used. How did she do all this in 15 minutes, with the kids? And she would have had to go down to body temperature, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just not possible. Yeah, Angel says, and the spelling mistakes in the Google searches are dodgy. Yeah, nurses usually know how to spell pretty good. Laura says, yeah, she took Cora to the driveway that morning. To the driveway? You mean to the doctor? Yeah, but the mother drove her. So, at least that's what the story is. Cedar in the house, sorry. Happy to find this channel. I've caught up on all the videos on this case here. Well, thank you, appreciate you. Kathy says, well, he said he couldn't see her car because it was too dark. So what the hell? Right. Your G theory with the window makes sense. The guillotine. One Big Red's picture opening argument. Ooh, day one, Big Red's picture. I'll have to look at that. Somebody send it to me. Hey, Florida girl. Also, this defense attorney is going to get a good cut of any money PC is able to get from the lawsuits. True that. All right, you guys. So I really wanted us to pay attention about this concept to see what you feel. So all right, this person's name, Drops of Emerald, and they kind of went, a lot of people shared their posts. I grabbed it too, because they make such a valid point. Look here. It says Patrick Clancy and his best friend. Hashtag Lindsay Clancy and Patrick's new wife. Right? Look at this. Look, can you tell which one of these ladies is actually Lindsay? Is this Lindsay? Is this Lindsay? Is this Lindsay? Is this Lindsay? What if I told you only two of them are Lindsay and the other two are Rachel, his new wife? So when they look that much close, it really gets freaky when you find out she's also left-handed. I'm not saying she did anything at all. It's very creepy and very coincidental that Lindsay says, I could see myself doing it. How would you, what are you having an out-of-body experience, or are you so drugged up that you're watching something happen and you're assuming it's yourself because it looks like you and you don't even know about this woman, and why would she be in your home? So the only logical answer is that you're having a psychosis and you're seeing yourself do this. You feel me? So this person points that out. Patrick took off his boots when he first got home, except he was wearing tennis shoes in the first part. Okay, Lindsay allegedly described watching herself do things and not being able to stop it, right? Interesting and creepy. That is, not being able to stop it just gives me the... In other words, she wanted to stop it, but she couldn't. So that would kind of make me think that it's possible that she was under the influence of a sedative or even a roofie, where you know what's going on, but you're foggy and you can't physically move your body. You can't move. If she was roofied, then somebody could have taken her out as well and thought, okay, well, we'll crush up the pills. Now, from everything I understand, the children's talks came back clean, that she didn't sedate the children. I could be wrong there, so correct me if I am, but everything I've seen suggests that the toxicology on all three children came back without anything, like they were clean. So then why are their pills crushed in a cup by Lindsay's bed in her bedroom? She wouldn't crush the pills for herself. That would be horrible. Ugh. Of course, you can break a pill, it'll get in your system faster, but to crush them all, I don't buy that. And the placement of the weapon that she used to, in the hand would need to be left, because this is where the big cut is. Also, the knife is placed on the table as though the person's left-handed. Now, also, the cuts on her arms, all right? Not to be too graphic, but they're horizontal, meaning they go back and forth like this. That's not what a nurse would do if she was serious. That is not what a nurse would do. I'm just telling you now, it would be up and down. So there's a lot of problems with this. Now, if he went, well, let's get back over here for a minute and look at this. That should show on tests if done. What? What would show on tests? She could have seen the new wife do it. That's what I'm fearful of. Hey, Shelley. Also, why has no one mentioned the fact that Patrick was alone with Lindsay a good 20 minutes alone before even going into the basement? That's suspicious in itself. Patrick was alone with her all day long until he left to go to the CVS pharmacy, allegedly. Now, if you take in consideration, if we were to take the CVS footage and say, okay, that wasn't Patrick. Let's say hypothetically it was someone else. We won't pin it on his best friend. We'll just say somebody that looked like Patrick but not Patrick did that. The time difference would be that Patrick wouldn't have had to leave his house until 5:45 p.m. and he could have still made it to the restaurant and drove back, and then he would come into a very quiet house if he had prearranged everything. 5:45. It would give him all the time in the world. And if the other person had Patrick's phone, they could have gotten that exchange happen after the pharmacy, and then they could have met, like bypassing each other in the parking lot or whatever, and got my phone back. Now I'm gonna head over to the restaurant. Or that person could have drove to the restaurant and been waiting for Patrick. Patrick does everything and comes over here, grabs his phone, and then goes, and that could be why he's checking it right away. Now, the thing is, if this all took place the way it did, that would make so much more sense if you think about the timing, because they've only got a 30-minute window that they can revive that baby. It would be scientifically shocking if they could revive the little baby more than 30 minutes. If we go from this entire thing where he arrives home at 6:09 and then they do all this, we really got to be very close to that 5:40 mark that something happened to the little tiny baby at that point. But if it was Lindsay, she would have had to do all this, and then her body has to go all the way down to 82 degrees. That timeline don't fit. Her body needs minimum 82 degrees. She needs a half hour to get that low of a body temp, and she got it. He's not gone that long. So it would suggest that she had been laying out there well before that. Well, if you plan all this out and you think about it, and if he's home till 5:45, he could have taken care of Lindsay first. She'd be laying out there, then gone down, and one by one, done what he did. And then on the third one, he was getting short on time. And so it's very possible that child was actually left restricted. That ended in their death. Then he just drives away and goes to the restaurant, meets the person, gets his phone, goes in, gets his takeout. When you look at the window, there's this like rectangle spot of blood, and it's so squared up. The only thing I can think of is the neck. The neck was bleeding profusely. We have to have a lot of blood right there, okay? if he actually did do this, that could explain why the bed is moved. To get her out that window, she's going to be full body weight. You're going to want to position her where you're not going to leave a trail, on yourself. So you're going to try to move the bed so that you can come from behind her. You don't want blood on you. You've already done what you've done to the woman. Throat and arm, right? So you pick her up from behind. So you're going to turn the bed towards the window, and then you're going to come from behind. And window's open, you'd place her over it. And while you're getting her together, to gather her so that she can go head first out the window, in a sense, because I don't think it's going to be one fluid movement, she's resting there. And that's where all the BLOOD comes on the windowsill. That's my theory. But as far as this would all be hinged on if this was really not Patrick. So let's watch this for a minute and see what you think. Okay, she did. I knew she fell on her head first. Okay, so there it was. Did you see it? We're gonna go a lot slower. Let's do it. Let's see. We'll do it manual. So the doors are opening. You notice he never looks at the camera. His shoes have black soles, everything about it. That does not look like Patrick to me. That does not look like Patrick to me. It just doesn't. Okay, he's going to come closer to the camera. I'm going really, really slow for you. Like right there. Does that look like Patrick to you? Look at that smooth hair. Look at that. I just don't. He's keeping his head turned away from that camera, isn't he? Whoever this is. Okay, I want to go back. Watch this person's eyes. They notice the camera immediately. Right here, they're looking at the camera. They kind of tip their head down. They look at the camera. See that? And then they turn their head away. They're like, oh yeah, I'm being recorded. Okay. I don't know, you guys. Let's look at this. So, here's the two pictures, right? Did these look like the same people to you? Knitting Mom, welcome back. Sideburns cut into a V at the top, at the bottom. Right. I feel that too. Margaret says, I think she struggles out to get help, or his car accident option might go on. Strange stories. So who actually passed if just a makeshift job for the class we aren't? Not as much looking like brother. I'm sorry, hon. I can't even make heads or tails out of what you're saying. Linda says, again, hair parted on the right. Well, and they do. I'm just saying, so what? What is the part of the hair? I could part my hair, like I don't have my hair parted. I have my hair in a pony, braids, but I could part my hair on this side or that side. Like I could be like, okay, I'm going to take and put my hair like this and put it on this side. Or I could take and put my hair over on this side, going that way. I don't think that the parting of the hair, hold on. No, my hat felt funny. No, not the same men, Jennyville says. You don't think so either? If his story don't match, he's lying perhaps, not on too many points. I think he's lying about a lot of them. Jojo, when he's in the pediatric section, he bends down and hides from the cameras. That's my point. Rose Lily nails it. Patrick's hair is curly and wavy. And this hair isn't. This hair is not curly, right? Okay, let's take a bigger look. Let's take a bigger look. All right, so we did this. We did this. Let's go over here. I grabbed some screenshots from that still shot. Tell me which one this person looks like more to you. So we'll name this one. Let's get a drawing stick. This is going to be 1. That's Kyle. 2 is Patrick. Which one do you feel this person is? There's my question mark. So do you feel give me a 1 if you think he looks more like Kyle. Give me a 2 if you think it looks more like Patrick. That's not Patrick, Shelley says in her opinion. Similar to him, brother perhaps. Oh, thank you, Margaret, for clarifying. The part, the way it lays the best. Yeah, but they change it too. Jenny says, no head injuries and the state attacked that part, but the testimony made sense to me, and I still say dope or dropped and pushed. So a lot of you, Jojo feels that it's Kyle, that it looks more like Kyle. J.E. Girl, Nitty Mom, all feel that looks like Kyle. I've got a couple of them I want to show you. Oh, look at all the ones. Yeah. Y'all all feel that way. Jennifer Swain in the house. I miss you, lovely. Grace Kelly, how are you, lovely? Straight hair. Jennyville, Mary. Candy Hart. Nikki UK. Nina. Yeah. All right, let's go with another one. I grabbed quite a few little screenshots. Look at this one. This one does not look like Patrick at all to me. This one, the nose gives it away to me so strongly. My son doesn't right side for him. Oh, and okay, one thing I don't get from this either is all the women swooning over Patrick. He gives me the Wade Wilson vibes. He gives me Chris Watts vibes. Yeah, he's not attractive to me at all. All right, so on this one, here's another picture that I grabbed. Again, 1 if you think it's Kyle, if the person looks like Kyle. 2 if you think this person looks like Patrick. The nose, that's me too, Lauren. That's me too. That nose just blows my mind. Let me grab this. Okay, so question mark, who is this? Does this person look more like Kyle with a 1? Or Patrick with a 2? Which one does he favor the most? Again, 1. It gives you the heebie-jeebies. Me too. Me too. All right, the last one of these 3. This right here, I want to show you why I strongly feel that this hairline is freaky. Okay, let's get over here. Let's make this picture bigger. What I want you to notice is on his hairline, it comes down and it comes out and it goes back in and straight down. Feel me? Like it's pointy. So I'll do it again. It's a point here, it comes in, it's a point here, and then it goes directly behind the ear. Where, if you look at Patrick's hair, all right, we don't have that, do we? We have this very low, almost level with his eyes, little curve, and then it just kind of squares off right here, right? So when I look at this picture, I can clearly see that this person's hair right at the top here points out and then goes straight down and comes up sharp, which for me matches this good old boy right here. Now, tell me if you disagree, please. Missy Q says pointy sideburns. Yeah, everybody's at a 1. Pity we can't get closer. I know. Look at all the ones. Women are the prize. Oh, I love your name. Beautiful. Cedar in the house is a 1. Did Kyle testify at trial? Yes. Yes, Jojo. Gosh, they could be twins. Are we sure? They're not brothers. Allegedly, they're just friends. Yeah, he's Patrick's best friend. All right, so I wanted you to check this out. Now, I had to record this because if I stayed on this website too long, it tried to give me a virus, so be careful out there, y'all. Anyway, this was a little write-up that was written by Aurora, okay? Patrick Clancy's best friend, Kyle Carney, looks like him. New theories question timeline of Lindsay Clancy's killings. All right, let's look at this. So first of all, they look identical, right? New social media theories are pulling Patrick Clancy and his friend Kyle Carney, not Clancy, Carney, under the spotlight. New conspiracy theories are gaining attention online around Patrick Clancy and his friend Kyle Carney, with social media users questioning the timeline of the killings and Patrick's 5:24 p.m. work email. And it goes on to say, Lindsay Clancy has pled not guilty to killing her 3 children, 3-year-old Cora, it says 3-year-old Cora, that should be 5. And so 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan in January of 23. Her attorneys have argued that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis and was not criminally responsible when she strangled the children. Prosecutors have argued that Lindsay carefully planned the killings while Patrick was away picking up takeout and medicine. This is what people are saying. Let's look at this. Okay, let's see what it says. A theory suggesting, wait. Let me grab a hold of it. A theory suggesting Patrick Clancy's best friend, Kyle Carney, impersonated him has taken over social media discussions around the Lindsay Clancy trial. One user wrote on Facebook, so Patrick Clancy's best friend looks a lot like him? What if he had his best friend go pick up the food and go to the pharmacy for him? Whole time Patrick was at the house, and that's how he was able to send an email from his house at the same time he was supposedly at the store. Maybe I'm reaching? Tell me what you think. I don't know. A lot of people are asking that. Another user connected the theory to Patrick's current wife, writing, Patrick Clancy and his best friend and Patrick's new wife. Patrick took off his boots when he first got home. Lindsay allegedly described watching herself do things and not being able to stop it. Interesting and creepy. Someone wrote, quote, his friend was his double on camera at the e-store. The psychiatrist who gave her all the drugs was Patrick's mom's close friend. Also, Patrick's dad was a police captain, and why Patrick was never investigated. Now, I want to clear that up. From my understanding, everything I know to be true, it's been, from what I believe, it's his uncle, not his dad, but his uncle. Correct me if I'm wrong there, too. Lindsay Clancy was outside in the snow, and her body temperature was 82 degrees. One user wrote, the way Lindsay Clancy was crying in court today, she did not do it. Patrick Clancy did it with the help of his friend, trying to blame it on Lindsay because of her prior diagnosis. Yeah, that's the one I showed you. It's saying that it's all stemming because of that 524 email. Ears are the best way to tell. That's a good way to tell for sure. Uncle, allegedly, Jenny Bill says. I read the uncle was Duxbury police chief. That's what I read too. Margaret says it could be that way. I just didn't see the story as right back then, but recently more. Hey, Lady Shore. I know I saw a video in court that had been timestamped from the CVS store with him in the store. Before that, if it is actual real on that video, 533, I understand. But what if it's not him? Jenny feels like ding, ding, ding. Cedar in the house says Kyle's shoulders are more square and Patrick's are more sloped to shoulders. You don't think it's the same guy? So, is it the okay. Do you know how warped this man has to be to convince his wife that she's going crazy, giving her meds? If this theory is correct, this is how it would pretty much have to work. Hear me out. He would, first of all, take months to do the research while she was away at doctor's offices on her account, where he did make a few mistakes and log in with his own email and do it while she's gone and not in the house. Things like how to take her out, right? Well, that happened. Okay. So let's move to the next thing that he would have to have happen. He would have to have a friend that looked almost identical to him. Oh, wait, he does. He would have to have access to medication. Oh, wait, he does. So this whole time that Lindsay thinks she's going nuts, is he playing with her mind? Is he doing things like wait until she's asleep and then being like, now is your only chance to take everybody out, and subliminally putting shit in her head? Is he really maybe crushing up meds and putting them in her food so that she's taking different meds at different times? I mean, that didn't kill her. And then if he did do this, if he did plan this, it would make sense to me that, I just hate to say this, but that multiple bands would have been used, because in my belief, he would have had an accomplice there with him. And remember, Lindsay makes the claim that she saw herself doing this but couldn't stop it. If she's drugged up and seeing this, then that would make sense why multiple bands were used, so that it could all be at the same time-ish, right? Put the one in the office that's dangling, if you feel me, and then each person have a different band. Said never understood why Lindsay would have went through the issue or the trouble to get a different band for each child. But if there's multiple people, I don't know, you guys. This just takes, you were reading brother was a police guy. I don't know if he has a brother. I haven't come across anywhere telling me that Patrick has a brother. So I don't know where you were reading that. Or if he does have a brother, again, correct me, because this case is just all over the place. Let me get caught up on chat. I'm way behind. Lorena says, I have to watch Nothing Their Testimony again. This is so crazy. Yet what husband would 4 days after your wife murdered your children forgive her? It'd be 4 months that he moved out. I don't know about the 4 days. You think he's being set up? I'm sorry, Margaret. I'm not understanding the things you're writing. Angie, welcome back. One astrology lady does crime charts and said there's something about twins in the chart. That's interesting. And that could just simply be Gemini, because Gemini is considered the twins. But turns out everything I've heard, people are saying he's a Gemini, so I don't know. If you watch a lot on a TT app, there is a lot of wrong info, such as people calling Kyle Clancy, which he's not, he's Carney. I met Patrick has a brother, etc. Just saying, right? Absolutely. Oh, I've got a delivery that's nuts. All right, we're going to cut it here today because otherwise you got to hear them. I love you guys. I will see you soon. And if you want to do a reading with me, pop over. We're going to find out, what is Lindsay actually remembering now? Let's get inside her head. All right, I'll see you there. Love you guys. Thank you for everything.
From the dust I was born, to the dirt I shall return. When my eyes are closed, in the shadows, my enemies will think they won, but I'm here to stay. Destiny will overcome, no, I am not afraid. Like a phoenix in the night, my soul will rise from the dark.